Hi guys, I'm Kim and you're watching Kim Wilson TV. My channel is dedicated to helping victims of narcissistic abuse get free, stay free, and never have to return to that shit show-orama ever again. Now, the more I research and come to understand narcissists better, one of the really frightening aspects of these freaks of nature is that they are highly likely to be spreading a sexually transmittable disease. Why? Now, one of the reasons why, of course, is, as many of us know, in addition to the narcissistic personality disorder that plagues them, they're quite often alcoholic, drug addicts, gamblers, sexual perverts. So all of this combined with a deep desire to harm and injure people, combined with this kind of bulletproof attitude that, they're not going to contract something, I mean, just makes them a keg of dynamite ready to go off as far as an STD goes. And in addition to that, it would never occur to them to protect their main source of supply, a wife, or long-term girlfriend, from something like this. It would just never occur to them. In fact, I would go on to suggest that they would absolutely be thrilled and delighted if they spread a sexually transmittable disease to you. Now, they would not care if you were pregnant, and of course, in the case of something like syphilis, this would put your unborn child, at serious risk of being born with some very grave problems, or even potentially die during the pregnancy. Now, another issue is if the narcissist does contract sexually transmitted disease and they do spread it to you and it is diagnosed in you, they are never assuming any responsibility for it. They are going to blame you and blame you and blame you, and this will very likely be, a good reason for them to dump and discard you and to smear campaign the shit out of you. Now, another thing you need to consider, because the narcissist's ability to create this fantasy life and this fantasy image of their self is also able to twist and somehow morph people in their minds. Now, Trevor and I had a neighbor down the back alley, and this was very obviously a woman addicted to alcohol and drugs. I mean, very impoverished, and someone who was highly suspected, of being a prostitute and a woman who did sexual favors, for personal gain. Now, she was in our yard once sitting on our patio furniture, and of course when she left, I immediately hosed everything off. I mean, she had like all kind of scarring around her mouth and some other stuff going on that was pretty weird, and there was no way in hell I was sitting on that chair again after she had been in it. Trevor went on to have an affair with her. Now, the woman was very clearly drug addicted. Now, I don't know if anyone understands what the term tweaker means, but she had almost a paralysis from drug addiction that caused her to be, jerky and twitchy and things like this. Now, it was very obvious what was going on with her. Now, not only did Trevor have a sexual affair with this woman, but he also broke out in open sores. He had definitely gotten symptoms of what appeared to be syphilis to me, including the rash on his feet, which is very common with syphilis, and what he had her labeled as in his phone was his beauty queen. Now, how does someone morph a twitching, tweaking crackhead who is obviously, I mean, something seriously freaking wrong here. How does that morph in a narcissist's mind as a beauty queen? Well, very easily. Because they just have this crazy, insane, chaos-making distortion that makes them believe that, well, if they're with him, they must be as fabulous as him. And he actually went on to really covet and nurture this relationship and would scream the most horrible things in my face, like, well, if I've got disease, you're getting it too. Well, the fuck I was. Oh my God, I wouldn't have touched him in a fucking hazmat suit, you know, fully suited up with a mask and safety goggles. Like, I mean, the guy was like clearly diseased. And I would say to him, like, dude, you're like prancing around like you're the man over here, and you got like a crotch rock going on that had spread up his butt cheeks, and it was everywhere, and it didn't faze him. Like, it absolutely didn't faze him. I was mortified and running for, you know, a health clinic to make sure I hadn't caught anything. Now, thank God I didn't, but I'll tell you, Trevor and I have very, very different lifestyles. Now, when you consider narcissists are very, very capable of fishing for sex supply in the extremely shallow end of the swamp, they are able to very easily rationalize this and justify this in their minds. They are absolutely actively trying to hurt you. They are liars and they are cheats. And I have mentioned the possibility of STDs being spread to victims in another video. Well, I got quite a few emails, and there were definitely comments there from people saying, yes, I most definitely contracted something from my narcissist. I'll tell you, you got to be really careful with this, especially something like syphilis. And Sam Vaknin has a very interesting video about untreated syphilis in narcissists, and down the road, as they become older and more abandoned and it's harder for them to find supply and they've burnt all their bridges, it's often discovered that they've got, you know, dementia and other serious mental problems because they've been walking around their whole life with untreated syphilis. And in addition to the crazy making that's going on in their mind from the narcissistic personality disorder, many of them are having their minds slowly decayed from syphilis. So syphilis is very hard to detect, and you have to really ask your healthcare professional to specifically check for syphilis, because if you don't get this treated and you become pregnant, this can be absolutely a catastrophe. Now, because Trevor is drug and alcohol addicted and has a very dirty, promiscuous sort of lifestyle, he was certainly very high risk for something like this. But keep in mind, even if your narc is hiding it better, it doesn't mean you're not at risk. I would strongly recommend that if you have been with a narcissist, even if you've been away from them for years, syphilis and other sexually transmitted diseases can lay dormant for a very long period of time. And I also see a lot of comments where people say, you know, the narc has, you know, given them the cold shoulder, they've been cut off sexually. You know, when Trevor would do that to me, I actually believed he was letting open sores heal and things like this so I wouldn't see them. So I would be very, very careful, and I would definitely have your healthcare professional check for syphilis, and I would do a full STD scan, because unfortunately, guys, even if you're married and have been for years, this is not going to stop them from spreading disease to you. And when they are drug addicted and alcohol addicted, their immune systems are weakened. And it just opens up, you know, this floodgate for disease to get in. Guys, I'm Kim. You're watching Kim Wilson TV. I hope you're all safe. Peace be with you guys. Love you a lot. See you soon. Take care.